what's the Jewish approach to understanding why people die? Right? That question could take us hours and hours and hours. I want to focus on one small element of that through a mitzvah in this week's parsha. Right? And that is, are we supposed to believe that there's a reason or not? And where's the comfort? Again, it's really just a touching upon the topic through a very fascinating argument in Parshas Re'eh. Right? So the Torah tells us there is a mitzvah. Right? You can't gash yourself. You can't make a mark on your head, cut the skin in response to death. Right? Mourning is fine. It's healthy. It's normal. It's probably even productive. But gashing yourself, going too far in the morning, right, that is prohibited. Right, that's actually usser. There's a Torah prohibition. You can't react that violently and that harmfully to yourself in reaction to death. Question is, why not? Somebody died. We're devastated, right? We've had numerous terrible, tragic deaths. Just in the last 10 months, individual families. It happens all the time. Why not? So I'll share with you just two answers that I think represent two different worldviews in terms of what we're meant to understanding and where the comfort comes from. So the Ibn Ezra says, right, the secrets in the verse right before that verse of Lo Tisgodu, don't gash and cut, it says, Banim atem la'Hashem Elokeichem, you are God's children. That's the introductory pasuk to this prohibition. And Ibn Ezra says, right, what does that mean? Right, it says, imagine sometimes you have little children. They don't quite understand what the parents are doing or why they're doing what they're doing, or seems like they're maybe rebuking the children. They're just not, they're not capable of enough of understanding, right, why the parents are doing what they're doing. But these are parents who have their best interests of their children at heart, and they're doing what is best for that child. The child just doesn't have the mental capacity to understand that that is true. He similarly says, the Ibn Ezra, we are Hashem's children, right? We don't have the intellectual capacity to understand the ways of the divine, but we have to understand, like children of a fabulous father, of a loving and kind and generous father, that everything Hashem does is for our best. Right? That is the language that he uses. Right? We shouldn't. It says we can be sad, but we shouldn't be too sad. We shouldn't go too far because we're not orphans. We have a father who loves us. And et kol asher ya'aseh l'tovu, everything that Hashem does is for the best. Okay, that is certainly one approach, right? We know that everything Hashem does is for the best, and therefore, even if we don't understand it, there's some level of comfort there, and we can't overdo the mourning. The Ramban says something different, right? The Ramban says, he goes not to the pasuk before, but to a bunch of psukim after. Ki am kadosh atal Hashem Elokecha. Right, you're a holy nation. Hashem chose us to be an am skula, chosen nation, right? A special nation from all the other nations on the world. The Ramban says, what does it mean, am kadosh? That is a promise that we are an eternal nation in this world and in the next world. We have our souls live on in eternity. And therefore, he says, of course, it's natural that our hearts are aroused with pain when somebody dies. But we should know that it's a temporary separation, that we live forever and we will be reunited with our loved ones. And therefore, we shouldn't overdo our reaction to death, right? That's what he says. And that's how he explains, right? And therefore, right? You should not cut your skin because it's a temporary separation. That's fundamentally different than Ibn Ezra, right? That's not about understanding and knowing that everything is good from Hashem and that everything is done for a reason. Ramban could have said that. He doesn't. He says, understand that it's temporary. Understand that we are an eternal people and will be united for all eternity. This is just a small little separation. And that's where the comfort comes from. Again, two different worldviews in terms of why we don't gash ourselves, what our reaction to tragedy and death is, neatly encapsulated in one mitzvah in our parsha. Shabbat Shalom.